Hello and welcome to a brand new Minecraft tutorial for the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. Today we're going to be looking at an amazing furnace array, which I've been using this design now for over a year. If you've watched any of my Truly Bedrock videos, or if you've been around my channel for a long time, you might have seen this a couple of times. I'm finally going to do a tutorial on it because I never have done a proper one. And basically, if you didn't know already, furnaces on the Minecraft Bedrock edition of the game can be pushed and pulled with pistons whilst they're still smelting. It doesn't break their smelting, it doesn't stop them, which means that we can create amazing piston feed tape designs that only cost us a little bit of cobblestone and allows us to get over nearly 13,500 items smelted per hour without loads of hoppers, no hopper minecarts, really not that much at all. Although I will admit, it is a little bit laggy if you're playing on a multiplayer world or realm, but you know, you're smelting stuff so quickly you shouldn't need to run it for very long. So let's first look at how this works and why this works, and then we'll get into the tutorial. This system uses two piston feed tapes that basically push around 66 furnaces in total. It's 10 by 10, but we have the corners of each one missing apart from one, so that's 3 furnaces missing. There's 10 along the bottom, 10 along the top, 8 down each side to make the 10 by 10, with the 3 in the corners missing. 2 of those, that adds up to 66 furnaces altogether. And behind the system we have a clock, and it's a very special type of clock that means that only one of the redstone lines can ever be powered at once, which means that even if there's loads of lag on your world, the pistons are not ever going to jam up, so they're never going to have more than one stuck out at once, which means your furnaces aren't going to break. Your piston feed tapes are going to be absolutely fine. And basically what that is a block going round in a circle with some redstone torches underneath. As the block passes over a torch, the redstone signal passes through that, goes through a repeater which fires a piston to move the block on, and that means that we are only ever getting a signal off each one, so each piston is powered completely individually. We've then got our output chests. We need 2 hopper lines coming down from this and 2 hoppers going into our output chest. Now we don't technically need this output chest at the bottom, but if you're smelting a lot of stuff, it might be worth having extra so things don't back up. And you have 2 hopper lines running because you need to be able to pull from the back set and the front set at the same time. This thing's going to be smelting quickly. It's going to smelt as fast as a hopper can pull it out. So every time a furnace does a full loop, it's going to have an item ready, and that item's going to need collecting as it goes past. To the left hand side we've got an input chest which feeds into both sides from the top, so the hopper from this side comes down into this furnace loop, and then there's another hopper feeding to the back that goes down into that furnace loop. This chest is a trap chest so that when we open it and items are being removed by the hoppers, we're not going to have the glitchy weirdness of Bedrock edition of trying to get more items in the chest. Similarly, on the other side we have a coal or a fuel input chest. Exactly the same thing happening here, but this time the hoppers go down in between. One faces into the back of that furnace and one faces into the front of that furnace, because we need to load our fuel into the front or the back or the sides of the furnace. So if we go back here and we flick this lever on, our clock is going to start going round, and you can see it's very quick, and every time one of those pistons fires, the equivalent pistons around there will fire as well. And if I stand back from the front, you'll see that you'll never see more than one piston firing at once in each corner, which means we'll never have an issue with pistons overlapping and furnaces getting stuck and things getting pushed about. It's not going to break our redstone. As the furnaces turn around, they all start to light as they get the fuel from this one and they get some items from that one, and as they come past the middle again, they're going to start dropping their items into these hoppers here, which are going to start flooding down into these chests here. Now if we just replace that chest for a not trap chest, we can actually see how quickly the items are coming into this thing. And it's very fast. So yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic system. It means you're going to get almost 14,000 items per hour, which works out around about 8 chests per hour worth of items. And obviously you can use shulker boxes on this as well. If you got rid of this chest here, you could put a shulker box on there and you could load it from that, and you could load into shulker boxes at the front there as well. So it's very flexible. And it's actually surprisingly easy to build, although it does take up quite a lot of space. So I suppose it's probably about time that we got into it. Having said that, before we get into it, I'm sure I'm going to get quite a few comments saying, oh, well, actually, FoxyNoTail, you can use observers and you don't need all of that redstone behind there, because observers will do just as good a job, and they're really, really good at observers and all that, mate. I know you can use observers, but I would strongly not recommend it because, yet again, on the Bedrock edition of the game, observers are buggy and occasionally they can just not see something in front of them, which means if one of them doesn't see a furnace going past, it's going to stop, which means your furnace array is going to stop smelting. So if you've decided to go AFK while your stuff all smelts and you come back to it, your furnace array may well have just stopped and none of your items will have smelted, which is not good. So this is why we use good old-fashioned redstone without observers on my tutorials, because until they fix the bugs in the game, we're stuck with this stuff. And this works perfectly. This doesn't break. There's no buggy redstone in here at all. Even on a really laggy system, this will work. I mean, it's going to make the laggy system worse, but it will work. Whereas these guys behind us, unfortunately, they're no good. However, when they decide they're going to fix redstone and it's bugging us, I will more than happily switch my system out to use observers because it's a much tidier and simpler system to do. Anyway, that's enough ranting about observers. Let's get on with building this thing. Huge facepalm moment as I realise I've been recording this tutorial to myself as I didn't press the record button, so I have to smash it all to bits and start again. Oh, great. I was doing really well as well. It's the best tutorial I think anyone will have ever seen in the whole of the internet. And I completely forgot to press record. Oh well, I'll just have to do a rubbish version instead where I trip over my words and say things wrong and have awkward cuts here and there because I can't do it quite right. Oh, there's my chest. Oh, jeez. We got all this. I got to count all. Oh, jeez. Take two. Okay, so the list of ingredients we need for this is 66 furnaces, 1 lever, 12 pistons, 18 hoppers, 4 chests, 4 trap chests, 17 pieces of glass, 12 redstone torches, 51 pieces of redstone, 8 redstone repeaters, and a whole bunch of building blocks. And that really is it, which is not very much at all, really. And we're going to start nice and simply with that chest that we just used for the ingredients as our output chest. And we're going to put a couple of hoppers in the back of it facing into it, with another normal chest on top of those hoppers, with 3 hoppers coming out each side the back of that. So 6 in total, all facing into that top chest. That's our output system, absolutely 100% done, nice and easy. Next, we're going to place in all of our furnaces. So we're going to place 1 there, and we're going to come out 5 in total. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that way. Now, it's important to keep them facing forward so that you can actually see if there's a problem with your system. If you've got them facing sideways and you've got something in there, you won't be able to see that it's not lit properly. So make sure they're all facing forwards. It's a bit of a pain to get them oriented the right way around, but it's okay. Then we're going to go up, so we've got 10 in total going up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the same on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're just going to join them up in the middle like this. And there we go. We've got 1 ring. So then just do exactly the same thing, but 1 block back. So at the back of this thing. Once you've got both sets of rings in place, we'll do the input hoppers for our items first. And what we do is put 1 on the furnace at the back in the corner there, and 1 on the furnace at the front next to the one in the corner. And we're going to put 2 more hoppers facing into that one in the back, so that when we put our first trapped chest, a double trap chest on there, we'll have items going into this furnace at the front and items traveling along into that furnace in the back there. The next, we're going to do our fuel input. So we're going to put 1 hopper facing into that furnace at the back there. And we're going to put 1 hopper facing into this furnace at the front here. And then we're going to put another couple of hoppers facing into those, and another couple at the front facing into those, and another trap chest at the front. Now that is purely for symmetry reasons. We don't actually need those other 4 hoppers. If you're short on iron, you can put your trap chest just onto those 2 hoppers there like that. But it starts looking a little bit off. So I like it to look nice and symmetrical when I do my redstone builds. So we're going to keep it like there. And I know that's not the most symmetrical design in the world. But shush, you know, we've got to get symmetry where we can. So to get started with placing the pistons, we've just got to figure out which way round this is going to be turning. And it's going to go clockwise, which means we're going to want pistons at the bottom here facing that way. And the easiest way to do that is just with some temporary blocks. Get yourself some temporary blocks and put yourself a piston facing into the bottom furnace in the corner like that. So those are going to push across, and then we're going to need to push up to get them round this loop here. So we'll put 2 temporary blocks underneath these corner ones, get rid of the top one, go above it, look down, and place your piston facing up into the bottom of those furnaces. Following the loop round, going to the top, this one is going to need to go across that way. So we're going to need to put pistons facing into those that way to push them across like that. And we can get rid of the temporary blocks when we're done. And the last one is going to need to go down. So what we're going to need to do is put a couple of temporary blocks on top of those furnaces, come down below, break the bottom one and replace it with a piston facing down there. And that's all of our pistons in place. Okay, next we're going to get started on our redstone clock system, and it's very important where we position this so that we don't mess up our redstone signal strength. So what we're going to do is come behind our output chest, and we're going to come back 7 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we're going to come down 2 blocks like that and add a square of 4 blocks there. And then we can get rid of all that stuff there. We don't need that anymore. On the top of those, we're going to put 4 redstone torches like that. And then we're going to use a bit of color coordination. We're going to put green in this bottom corner here. We're going to put yellow in that top corner there, then blue, and then red around there like that. And then we're going to place blocks on the left-hand sides of each of those as you're looking at them. And then we're going to put pistons on those facing inwards. Now we can put any old block we want on top of those redstone torches like that. Then we're going to put the coloured blocks next to each one of those. We're going to put a coloured block on the right hand side of the red system, same again on the green, same again on the yellow, and same again on the blue. And on each one of these we're going to have repeaters pointing outwards away from the centre. In front of those repeaters, again colour coordinating the blocks, we're going to put a block of the same colour that the repeaters sat on, facing out from there, and then use our colours again to line up to the piston that's to the right, not the piston that's to the left, otherwise it won't work, the piston that's to the right. So we're adding 2 blocks next to the higher up block that we've just placed, and on each one of those we're going to put some redstone dust like that. And the reason that they go on the right and not the left is that when the block is in front of that repeater there, we need to fire the piston to push it away. If we put the dust on that side and fire that repeater, it's not going to do anything. So it goes on that side there. And that's our clock done. All we've got to do now is actually wire it up to the system, which really isn't that difficult. Now it will drive you absolutely crazy like it drives me crazy. So stick yourself a lever on one of the upright blocks there like that to stop the clock. And let's get this thing wired up. And we're going to start from our red side, which is nice and easy, and we're just going to bring our redstone line across to the center of our 2 furnace rings there, and we're going to bring it over until it's just about in line with our pistons there, and we're going to just come up a couple of blocks like that, and then we're going to break that block there and that block there because we don't need them. Put a redstone torch on the bottom block and then one on the top block, and that will stop those pistons being fired. And then we're going to put a repeater facing into that redstone torch there, and then just continue our redstone line along to that. Now when that block moves in front of our red repeater, it's going to activate that line, it's going to push those pistons. But when it pushes those pistons, as you may see, we will end up with these furnaces here actually sticking out there. We've got too many furnaces in our ring at the minute, so we need to get rid of that one in that corner there. We need to get rid of that one in that corner there. And we need to get rid of that one in that corner there. And that should just about do us, I believe. Next, we're going to work on our blue line, and we're just going to bring that round along the side of the red line there. But before we get to the red line, we're going to stop and we're going to go up. And that block going up is just behind where our furnaces are there. So now if we build that up there and then break a couple of those blocks, we've got a line where our system's going to go. Again, repeater at the bottom, redstone torch on the bottom block, and a redstone torch on the top block, and then just link up that redstone there. And that's actually going to activate this piston. The reason we didn't break this block here is these are going to be activated once we've linked it up, which are going to push those down anyway. So now what we need to do is grab our glass. We're going to come up one more solid block from that redstone torch there because we can't pass a redstone torch signal through a glass block. We're going to put a piece of redstone dust on top of that, and then we're just going to staircase our glass up the side of this furnace array like this, and the redstone will link through the glass because glass is weird like that until we get to the top. And then we're going to bring it over the top and past both of those pistons there, which will both activate both of those, and that's now pushed those down there. So now our system's primed. We've got that one pushed. When we turn our clock on, that piston's going to retract, and that piston is going to be the next one to push, which is going to push our furnaces across here. Then this piston will fire, and then that one. But they won't because we haven't wired those ones up yet. So let's do that. So this time we're going to come out from the side there to keep things nice and compact, and we're going to come out until we're again in between our pistons. We're going to dogleg it there so that we can put our repeater in that position there. And we're going to put a block in front of that repeater there with a redstone torch on top. We're going to put a block on top of that redstone torch there. And our final redstone torch is going to go in between those two pistons there. And now that system is ready to go once we've got our redstone dust in there. And for our yellow line, we've got to be a little bit careful because we don't want to interfere with these pistons here. So we're going to come off here and we're actually going to go out a little bit wider than it looks like we need to. But unfortunately, we don't really have any way around that. We're going to come this way along here until we're in line with those blue blocks there. And we're going to go up like we did with the blue ones over there. And then we're going to put a repeater into that bottom block there. We can get rid of that one if we don't want it. We can get rid of that one, replace it with a redstone torch and that one as well. And the same thing, put a piece of redstone dust on the very top yellow block there. And all we've got to do now is exactly what we did before, which is to fill in our glass. So we're going to staircase the glass up the side of this thing just like this until we get right to the top, and we're going to put a piece of glass in between those again and bring that across. And that's it. That is the entire system completely done. So now when we turn this thing on, we should see that our piston feed tapes will go round. Why are we not firing? Oh, I'm a moron. I haven't done me last line. I got all carried away saying that was it. I didn't put me last bit of redstone dust in. Well, there you go. Problem solving with FoxyNoTail as well as tutorials. Now our system goes round very, very nicely. It's absolutely amazing. But FoxyNoTail, what if I want a lever at the front here? I can't be bothered to go all the way behind there and do it. And it really couldn't be simpler. All we're going to do is put a block below it, a block below that, and bring that across to the corner of our red line there. We're going to break that block. We're going to put 3 pieces of redstone dust there, flick that lever on. We're going to get rid of that one there, like that. That may have just messed up our loop. It didn't at all. Everything's absolutely fine. And now when we flick that, the system will work. And when we flick it again, the system will stop. And there you go. We've now got an on-off system as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So there we go. 100%. Very easy. Nice, easy to do. Really fast, amazing furnace array video. I really do hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please do leave a like. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.